Welcome back to Art and Nation Comics. I forget which episode this is. It might be episode 4 or episode 5, but I'll fix that in the title. Uh, just in case you you don't know who I am, I'm Frank, and I use this series. It's a vlog series. I might just leave it as Art and Comics Nation uh, without specifying it's a vlog, or maybe just certain times specify it's a vlog, because eventually I do want this to become something like the either the 48-hour art check or the Artcasters, or even the uh, the early bird. Uh, uh, I guess it will be a vlog cast that Marshall Lee does, uh, and Jeff Lafferty does the art cast. That's actually like watching his videos. It inspired me to do this, just because he doesn't really always have a guest on. It's not always live stream. Sometimes it is. Uh, it's just a place where he'll talk about something and show what he's working on. So that's what I want to use this for. So sometimes it'll be a vlog, and maybe later on it'll be something where I have people on. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so I've been wanting to do this video for a while. Uh, just a few things happened. I mean, I think everyone knows by now. COVID-19. We're in a crisis of infinite Earths. Well, at least one Earth. So I want to talk about just you know, doing stuff. Getting projects done. During this time that everyone's pretty much a lot of people are stuck at home. I know there's essential employees. So good for you. You're able to get out there. I know sometimes you probably think, well, I don't want to be an essential employee. I want to stay home, but no, like you're essential for a reason. So yeah, and also a couple of days ago when I started to do this video or another video, I was gonna do this one afterwards. My phone broke. I record on my phone, so you see it cracked, and it had fallen and cracked before, but it was still usable. But yeah, it's gone. So I have to get a new phone. So a good thing, I have some very awesome friends. One friend in particular, one of my bestest friend, if not the best friend, Steve. So thanks, Steve. He took me to work. Made the money to buy this phone, and he put in, what I didn't. He covered the rest, and also gave me, a case of water. So thanks. Anyway, so I have been doing a comic. I did a comic strip called Rome versus Church, and I was just thinking just doing it as a one page. But I might do it as a web comic. So eventually, if I get enough pages, I'll turn that into a mini comic. So that's something I'll be working on. I started the 100 days of making comics, so I'm using this time to start that challenge, and just to work on my book, and not just I want to do the Captain Courage comic, which I've talked about before. But right now, I'm using this time to do some smaller comic strips, even a smaller story. So, in addition to doing Rome versus Church, I'll be doing some other just small strips. They might be connected, they might not. I'm just working on a couple of different stories, and I'm also working on adapting a part of a real life story. There's a book on Amazon called Walking Dead, the Orlando Salinas story. He's actually my mentor. He's, he does a mentoring class every Thursday. Right now, it's a live stream on Facebook Live on Thursdays. Uh, uh, but uh, but he had said once, he might have been joking. I think he was joking. But he had said, "Why don't you do a comic on Walking Dead, the Walking Dead story?" Uh, and I thought, I think I might do that, but I'm not gonna do the whole book. I'm not gonna do the whole story. I'm just going to do a part of it. It's a part of a story that he always tells when he goes to different places just to tell his story. Inspire people, motivate people. He always tells that story. So I'm gonna adapt that part into a comic. So that might be a little bit darker, just because it is gonna deal with substance abuse and doing some crimes. So, uh, but that should, I don't know, maybe two or I think might be like 3 or 4 pages. I mean, I'm not sure yet. I'll know once I do more. I do have one page just kind of roughly sketched out, and I'll be showing some pictures. I'll probably put that here right now. Um, but in this video, I'm gonna be showing you just how I was working on Rome versus Church. So in this is all footage I got off screen recording. The screen recording was kind of messing up, so there's gonna be parts where it kind of skips around. But I'll show some other video, just my process really. So that I do want to turn that into a comic, a mini comic, or maybe a full size comic. We'll see. So that's something I'm gonna be doing as a web comic. Maybe once a month or every 2 weeks. So I'll put out a new page. So in case I did say this, I apologize, but I'm doing the 100 days of making comics, so that's something I'm going to be working on, doing these smaller stories. So that's one project I'll be working on. Also working on another one-page comic strip, which I might fit in with Rome versus Church. Just because it has a similar style, a similar feel. But I'm also going to be working on the Captain Courage comic. I'm going to start that as soon as I finish the life story comic. I do have a working title for it, but right now I'm just calling it the life story. I don't want to call it Walking Dead because it's not going to be the whole book. It's just going to be a small part, and we'll see how that goes. But that's what I'm working on now, and I'm also working on a new logo for this series, for this video series. Art and Comics Nation, and those are some panels I put together. It's actually one panel. I just flipped it and moved it around. But let's get to the video. So these are the rough pencil thumbnails. I first did it on just a regular notebook, and then on my sketchbook. And this is Rome versus Church. So I went from a notebook to a sketchbook, and I put it into Infinite Painter. That's the video you're seeing now. That's where I did the digital inks. At least not the inks, but the line art. And from there, I switched over to GIMP, and also to, let's see, what was it? Oh, Fire Alpaca. So I use a few different programs. Anyway, so as I was saying, I'm starting the 100 days of making comics. when I made this. This was in the first week of the quarantine, and I was going to include this as part of the 100 days, but after I had finished this, because I did all the digital inks in one day, like from morning till midnight, to a little past midnight. Uh, so I was tired. I mean, so I took a couple of days off, and I didn't want to be dishonest. I want to do the full 100 days, which I'll probably end up going over. I'll probably end up doing beyond the 100 days, just because I'm not starting with the main book that I want to do. I'm doing some smaller comics. So I will be going over. I'll probably do the beyond 100 days. Um, but I mean, that was always most likely going to be an option. Uh, so what was I gonna? Oh yeah, so I want to talk about, during this the lockdown, during this the quarantine. In my area, it's already a lockdown. It already went into effect on Thursday night, midnight. Well, I guess it will be Friday morning. So I can't go out unless it's to buy groceries or supplies. So I'm using this time just to work on comics, and other projects. Just get a few things done. I've been wanting to do the 100 days of making comics for a while, but I always made excuses. I always said, "Well, I mean, I don't have the time to dedicate it. I don't want to skip days. I if I do this challenge, I want to do it right." Uh, and then COVID-19 happened, and all the excuses went out the window. I wanted time, and I have time now. So I mean, uh, I've seen some people. I'm not gonna name names, or I actually don't even remember the names. But I've seen some people, post on other sites or other channels, um, that, I want to do comics, or I want to work on my art, or I want to work on this, but right now with the COVID-19, I can't. Which, like, well, why not? the don't use this as an excuse. I mean, if you legitimately can't do something because you're not able to go to the stores, that, all right. I mean, yeah, that's understandable, but you, you don't need a lot to start making a comic or just work on your art. Um, Paper and a pencil. Yeah. I mean, I'm using like four different things: uh, notepad, sketchbook, uh, sketchbook that I got from the Dollar Tree, my phone, and my laptop. So I mean, and two different programs on my laptop, and you know one app on my phone. So I mean, you can do it. You can get it done. I also want to give a shout out to Marshall Lee from Marsh Makes Comics. He had just done a video recently, and he had Peter Seckler. I think I'm saying the name right. Peter Seckler on, and they're talking about making comics, and I had left a comment in the comments of that video, because Marsh had mentioned the Discord, and I've been looking for a community where I can be accountable, especially since just started doing the 100 days of making comics challenge. Oh, and before I continue, that is The Young and the Dead. That is the first issue. That's the comic that Scott Serkland did. And the reason I'm showing that, I'm looking at it, using it as reference for the shading for the inking. I use it as reference for this comic strip. So as I was saying about the 100 days of making comics challenge, I I think this will be the first week, and I've been posting pictures up on Instagram. So I had been doing it. I had been just trying to stay accountable just by showing my work. But Marsh, showed me where I can find the link, and so I joined the Discord, and now I have a community where I can actually get some help, some critiques, advice. So so that's pretty cool. So I do recommend, if anything you're gonna do, whether it's comics, whether it's I don't know, you're gonna start a project. Find a community that's doing the same thing, or something similar, that you can get help. You can rely on each other. You can count on each other. So I'm really glad I found this Discord. Once again, thanks to Marshall for for giving me that link. Now let's see. I've been working on this. This is still Rome versus Church. So this page is done. It's already finished. Like I said, I spent, oh man, a better part of a day just doing the digital inks, and I did those on Fire Pocket and on GIMP. I switched back and forth because there was some things where I needed to use the brushes that I'm using on GIMP. So I used that on, I did those on GIMP, and I needed to fix the text on Fire Alpaca, because that helped me better with the fonts that I was using. So that's why I'm switching back and forth, going back on two different programs. And I don't know if you noticed, but most of the stuff that I have been using for the digital, for all the digital part, 90, I think, yeah, like about 90% of it is stuff from Scott Serkland's Comic Maker Start Kit and the Comic Maker Toolkit. I use the American Standard comics template, the layout, but Fire Pocket has its own, so you can use that. But I wanted to incorporate the template that I got from Scott's kits, from his Star Kit and the Comic Maker Toolkit, uh, because I wanted to make sure that it was the right size. But you can use Fire Pocket, and I think some other programs also have a section just for comics. I use the fonts. I use the speech bubbles. So I use quite a few. On GIMP, I was using the brushes. So I found out that you can install the Photoshop brushes on GIMP. So that is really really cool. So that's what I've been using. But yeah, I mean, just to kind of bring it back to full circle. Use this time to get your projects done. If you need to take a break, take a break. But there's really no excuses right now. There's no excuses that there's not enough time. If you want to get things done, you want to work on your comic, you want to work on your art, or anything that you said, you know what, I'll do this later. I'll do this when I have time. You can do them now. You know. some other things that I mentioned that I'm gonna be doing some other things also. Uh, you know, I'm gonna be working out more. I have weights here in my apartment, so I'm gonna be using them more. I have a ton of books, not just comic books or art books, uh, but just a lot of different books, motivational books. And I got some. I got the Diary of Anne Frank, and I have read before, but I want to reread it. So I'm I'm gonna be using this time just to not just feed my creative side, but feed my mind, feed my brain. Just to absorb more knowledge. And you know what? I've been slacking off on reading my Bible, and here in this panel, there's the guy praying. I had been slacking off, so I'm using this time to get closer to God. Use your time wisely. You have a lot of time right now. So just put it to good use. Turn this crisis into a victory. Use it for good. I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Just about just getting stuff done. Again, find a community that's gonna help you, whether it's art or whatever it is. Maybe find an online book club. Whatever it is that you're interested, I'm sure there's a group somewhere. So I'm gonna be putting out a few more videos. I also wanted to mention this comic strip, Rome versus Church. When I say Rome, the in this context, it's not actual Rome. It's from the phrase, when in Rome. There's a panel here on top where it says "When in Rome," and then the second, not panel, but the caption. The one on top says "When in Rome," the one on bottom says "When in Church." So it's really more a play on that phrase. When in Rome, do as Romans do. So it's more like like following the crowd. So following the crowd versus or following the wrong crowd versus following a different crowd or godly crowd, or just doing something good, doing something to benefit yourself, doing something that's going to have a positive outcome, versus doing something destructive, like binge drinking. You're gonna mess up your liver. But anyways, yeah. So I mean that's the comic. That's the whole concept behind Rome versus Church. And I think that is pretty much it for this video. I did go a little longer than I wanted to, but hey, it's good to talk sometimes. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you like this video, please give it a like, and feel free to leave a comment. I always try to respond to comments. Either as soon as I see them, or within a day or two. I try to respond to every comment, unless it's a troll or spam. Sometimes I still respond to bots. But that's pretty much it. So, hey, get out there, or not get out there, but stay home if if you don't have to go outside. Stay home. Get some things done. Make comics, make art, make something. You know, make something, create something, and we'll see you next time. You know, Salazar Art Nation out.